The village of Ekwemi had a rule older than the eldest grandmother's grandmother. Never walk through the Odum forest after the sun sleeps. 12-year-old Adaeze had forgotten that rule.
It had started simply enough.
She and her older brother Chukwuemeka, Emeka for short, 16 and always too confident for his own good, had gone to visit their auntie Ngozi.
On the other side of the village.
Their mother, Mama Chioma, had warned them to return before dusk.
Return before dusk.
She had said it the way she always said important things, quietly, with her eyes doing most of the talking. They had not listened. Now the three of them, Mama Chioma clutching her old kerosene lantern, Emeka with both hands pressed his mouth to keep from screaming, Adaeze gripping her brother to leave mark, and little Tobena, only 5 years old and pressed against his mother's wrapper like a second skin, stood frozen at light, pushed back only so much darkness. Not nearly enough. It had been Tobena who noticed first. He was the kind of child who noticed everything, the kind adults called old soul because his eyes moved slow and deliberate, like he was reading a book the rest of the world couldn't see. He had tugged Mama Chioma's wrapper twice. She'd been busy scolding Emeka for checking his phone instead of watching the path.
Ma.
His voice was barely a whisper, but something in it made everyone go still. The trees, they have eyes. She wished immediately that she hadn't. There, carved into the thick, twisted bark of the ancient Iroko trees that lined both sides of the path, were eyes, glowing, green as river moss under moonlight, narrow as a cat's, and blinking. Not fast, slowly. The way something blinks when it has been watching for a very long time and has all the patience in the world. Left side, right side, deep in the branches above, dozens of them.
Emeka, tell me you see that.
Her brother, Emeka, who had laughed at every ghost story. Emeka, who had called the village elders dramatic. Emeka, who had said just last week that fear was for people with nothing better to do. Slowly lowered both sides, Chioma raised the lantern higher. The warm orange glow trembled, not from wind. Her hand was shaking. She had grown up in Ekweme. She knew the stories. She knew what the elders meant when they said the forest was alive. She had spent 40 years convincing herself they spoke in metaphor.
Nobody run. Nobody scream. We walk together. We do not look directly at them.
Mama, what are they?
Dendio Chicho, the Watchers. My own mother told me. She was no longer convinced. Nobody run, nobody scream. We walk together. We do not look directly at them.
Mama, what are they?
Dendio Chicho, the Watchers. My own mother told me. Dendio Chicho, the Watchers. My own mother told me. They do not harm those who walk with purpose and do not show fear.
Did your mother ever actually test that?
Emeka, I will deal with you when we reach home. Walk.
They moved as one body. Adaeze pressed to Emeka's, tucked against Mama, the lantern held ahead like a small brave sun surrounded by an infinite night. The eyes followed them, every step, every breath. The forest did not make a sound, no crickets, no night birds, none of the ordinary music the dark usually played. Just silence, and the slow green blink of 100 ancient eyes watching 4 humans walk a path they should never have been on. Tobena alone seemed almost calm. He looked back once, just once, at the eyes in the trees. And in the way that only small children sometimes can, he raised his tiny hand. Something in the forest shifted. A sound like wind through reeds, or 1,000 leaves, not their name.
Tobena! Keep walking.
The village lights appeared ahead through the trees, the warm yellow glow of cooking fires and generator bulbs in ordinary human life. They did not run, but when the first hut came into view, probably heard the entire history of the earth.
They stood at the edge of the village.
Safe. The forest behind them, dark and quiet. But all 4 of them knew.
Adaeze, Emeka, little Tobena. Come, I will make tea, and then you will tell me exactly why we were still on that path after dark.
I was about to explain, Mama. Yes, Mama? The elders are not dramatic. That night, none of them slept easily. And just before dawn, when the whole village was at its most quiet, Tobena sat up in his sleeping mat. She stared toward the window that faced the forest and smiled. Something had waved back. 3 days had passed since the night walk. 3 days of Mama Chioma burning extra incense at the family shrine. 3 days of Emeka refusing to go outside after 5 o'clock. Suddenly discovering a deep passion for staying indoors and helping with household chores, something that had never once interested him in 16 years of living. 3 days of Adeze waking up at 2 a.m. and staring at the ceiling, replaying the slow green blink of 100 ancient eyes. And 3 days of Tobena drawing. It had started the morning after. Mama Chioma had found him at the kitchen table before sunrise, before anyone else was awake, hunched over a sheet of brown paper with a stub of charcoal clutched in his small fist.
She had looked over his shoulder, expecting the usual. Stick figures, lopsided cow houses. Instead, he named tile page.
Perfectly rendered, narrow, almond-shaped with that distinctive cat-like pupil, some large, some small, all of them unmistakably the same eyes they had seen in the Odom forest 3 nights ago.
Tobena, where did you see these?
In the garden, Mama.
They show me. At night, when I close my eyes. By the second day, the drawings had multiplied. Tobena filled 3 more pages, but now the eyes were no longer alone. They were closer. Adeze picked up one drawing and felt her stomach drop. In Tobena's charcoal world, one pair of eyes hovered to bend close enough to touch. Emeka, we need to talk to Baba Eze.
I see. We need to talk to Baba Eze.
For Emeka, who had, just 1 week ago, called the village elder a nice old man with an overactive imagination, this was the equivalent of a complete spiritual transformation. Baba Eze was 91 years old and had the kind of face that suggested he had personally witnessed the formation of several mountains. He lived at the far end of the village in a compound surrounded by clay pots, dried herbs, and a very judgmental-looking tortoise named Okoli who watched visitors with deep suspicion. Mama Chioma brought all 3 children. She carried the drawings rolled under her arm like evidence. Baba Eze looked at the drawings for a long time. He did not look alarmed. He did not look surprised. He looked the way a doctor looks at symptoms he has seen before. Thoughtful, measured.
The boy waved, he said finally. It was not a question. How did you? The Indio Chicho do not reveal themselves to everyone.
In 70 years, I have heard of it happening twice. They are old. Older than this village. Older than the name we have for this land.
They watch. That is their nature. They guard the boundary between what is seen and what is unseen. Usually they prefer to be ignored.
Then why did they show themselves to us?
They didn't show themselves to all of you. The small one, he saw them first, yes?
Yes.
Then he is the reason you are all safe.
The Watchers do not harm those who acknowledge them. Most people are too frightened to do anything but run. And running is an insult to something that ancient. It tells them you see them as a threat. He looked at Tobena again.
But this one waved, like greeting a neighbor, like saying, I see you, and I am not afraid, and I mean no harm.
He's 5. Wisdom has never required age.
The real trouble began on the 3rd night. Tobena?
Adeze, come here.
The tone he used when talking to his friends. She said her brother was sitting at the window, talking to the dark outside. Tobena.
She crossed the room in 4 steps and grabbed his shoulder.
She immediately looked out the window herself and froze. At the edge of the compound, not in the forest, not at a safe, manageable distance, but at the very edge of the compound wall, there were 2 pairs of glowing green eyes, low to the ground, watching. Not threatening, not moving, just watching with that same infinite patient blink.
What are you saying to them?
I'm not saying anything. I'm listening. Listening to what? They say that something is coming. Through the forest. Something that doesn't belong here.
They say they've been watching it for 3 moons. Getting closer. They say that we should tell the village.
Adeze pulled her brother back from the window and went to wake Mama Chioma. Mama Chioma woke Emeka, who had once laughed at every ghost story, got up without a single complaint, pulled on his sandals, and said,
He was already moving toward the door. Patient. Waiting. The 2 pairs of weight when no eyes are before the visted, it is still.
But tonight, Adeze noticed something different.
They weren't just watching the family anymore.
They were watching the tree line behind them. Alert. Whatever was coming through the Odum forest, the watchers were afraid of it too.
Mama Chioma appeared at Adaeze's side, wrapped in a nightcloth. She looked at her daughter.
She looked at Tobena, who had picked up his charcoal again and was already drawing. Furiously now, filling a new page with something none of them could yet see.
What is he drawing?
Adaeze looked over her brother's shoulder. He was drawing the forest, the path, the tree line, and emerging from between the trees, a shape, large.
It has no eyes. That's how you know it doesn't belong here. He looked back at the two pairs of glowing green in the dark outside.
But they can't do it alone anymore. He said it with the calm certainty of a child delivering a school report. The Watchers have been keeping it back, but they can't do it alone anymore.
They need us to help. The lantern flame flickered. Outside, at the compound wall, the green eyes blinked, slow, ancient, and for some the night on relief. The elders met at dawn. Baba Eze spoke. The village listened. And for the first time in 3 generations, the Moon Forest was not simply trees and darkness, a sacred agreement between the village and something far older than any of them. They had stopped honoring it.
That was why the thing without eyes had found a way through. The ritual took place on the 4th night. The whole village gathered at the forest edge, fires lit. Every tree on both sides of the path blazed with green light. Dozens, then hundreds of glowing eyes opening all at once like stars coming out. The drums fell silent. The village held its breath.
Then, back deep in the dawning, low, dawn, the green ones will blooms.
The village of Ekweme kept its rule after that night. Faithfully, gratefully. And every year, on the anniversary of that 4th night, placed there by a boy who had once waved at the dark,
And discovered, to everyone's surprise, including his own,
that the dark had needed him to. Tobena never stopped drawing the eyes. But from that night forward, in every picture he made, they were no longer watching the family. They were watching over them.